From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the news at 10, live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight,
W.H.O.
Hello and welcome. Tonight,
WHO officially declares that Nigeria is now free of Ebola virus transmission.
Nigeria makes history as the World Health Organization declares the country Ebola-free. The President directs sustenance of anti-Ebola measures at land, sea and airports nationwide. Borno elders welcome federal government Boko Haram ceasefire but expresses concern about attacks. And Turkey agrees to allow Iraqi Kurdish fighters cross the Syrian border to fight Islamic State militants.
Business news, the coordinating Minister of the Economy, Professor Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, insists the excess crude account needs a $6.3 billion to cushion the effect of fuel in global oil price.
And on sports news tonight, as Nigeria celebrates victory over Ebola, World Health Organization agrees to respect Morocco's call for the postponement of the African Nations Cup owing to the outbreak in some parts of Africa.
Spectacular feat. That's how the World Health Organization described Nigeria's example in the fight against Ebola virus disease. And accordingly, the world body today declared Nigeria Ebola-free after 6 weeks with no new cases. The benchmark of 42 days is twice the maximum incubation period for the disease. WHO Representative Ri Gama-Vals made this announcement in the nation's capital, Abuja, describing Nigeria's achievement as, quote, a spectacular success story.
May their soul rest in perfect peace. Please be seated.
This news conference is unlike several others that have been organized by the Health Ministry in the past. The gathering is to witness the World Health Organization's public announcement of Nigeria as an Ebola-free nation.
Today, 20th of October, 42 days, it means twice of the incubation period. After the last confirmed case of Ebola virus disease was discharged from the isolation ward, having tested negative for the Ebola virus, the chains of transmission have been broken. WHO officially declares that Nigeria is now free of Ebola virus transmission. We need to continue sharing the Nigeria's experience and country's expertise to help other countries to urgently contain the Ebola epidemic and supporting others in their preparedness and response plans.
Nigeria has not recorded any new case of Ebola since the last case was discharged from the hospital about 2 months ago. United States Center for Disease Control believes the world must learn from Nigeria's efforts in containing the disease.
We're able to isolate this case quickly. We're able to rapidly identify it. We're able to rapidly trace the contacts. We had very strong systems in place on the government side, both from federal levels down to the state levels, down to the facility. And we learned lessons from the various systems in place, whether through NCDC, the Polio Eradication Operations Center. We have just been very impressed with the wealth of the whole harmonized response that we've seen here that relies not solely on the public health system, but also these other systems that have been raised by both the Minister of Information and our Honorable Minister of Health.
This risk and the risk to other countries can only be eliminated through the setting up of a system similar to the Nigerian one under the leadership of the United Nations, but with the operational wing built around ECOWAS.
But having successfully conquered Ebola, What's next?
What next is enhance alert system, getting prepared, for eventualities and make sure that it doesn't come in again. But if it does, we should be able to really, round it up even faster.
With Ebola virus disease still ravaging some West African countries and cases of the disease in Europe and the United States, vigilance, especially at the entry points, must be taken seriously to avoid new outbreaks of the disease.
Well, the President has welcomed today's declaration by the World Health Organization that Nigeria is now officially Ebola-free and is indeed pleased with the spectacular feat. Addressing a news conference in Abuja, the President's Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Reuben Abati, said the President attributed the success of the Ebola containment to the cooperation of Nigerians with the government. And he called on Nigerians to strive to replicate the unity of purpose and all-hands-on-deck approach adopted against Ebola in other areas of national life.
The President seizes this opportunity to also reiterate his appreciation of the contributions of state governments, the World Health Organization, and other international health organizations, relatives of infected persons, and other Nigerians who courageously underwent the rigors of being quarantined and complied with all directives issued by health authorities to defeat the virus. He believes that Nigeria's globally acclaimed success against Ebola is a testimony to what Nigerians can achieve if they set aside their differences and work together, and he calls on Nigerians to strive to replicate the unity of purpose and the all-hands-on-deck approach adopted against Ebola in other areas of national life. As the nation applauds the success of its collective effort to stop the transmission of the Ebola virus within Nigeria, however, President Jonathan warns that the entire country must remain fully alert and vigilant against the re-entry of the virus. President Jonathan fully shares the view expressed by the World Health Organization in his congratulatory message to Nigeria that while we have won a battle against Ebola, the war will only truly end when West Africa, Africa, and the world are declared free of Ebola.
The President's Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Dr. Reuben Abati. In the meantime, a virologist at the Nigerian Institute of Medical Research, Dr. Rosemary Audu, has advised the authorities on the need to step up border checks as a way of sustaining the success so far achieved in the control of the Ebola virus disease. Dr. Audu also suggested the training and retraining of health workers to bring them up to date with conventional treatment methods.
I think for now, the borders, we have to continue the patrol of the borders to ensure screening, to ensure that it's not imported in. And then also, preparations need to be made. We need to continue training, and everybody just needs to be trained, the health workers, so that they'll be able to recognize it fast, individuals in the community, so they'll be able to report cases they suspect early enough. And one thing that has helped us in Nigeria is that the cases, the patients that were infected, they really cooperated. They were prompt reports, and so they were able to curtail the virus, they were able to contain it on time, unlike what you have in Liberia, where it was just spreading within the community. And of course, we have to continue, we have to do some research also. Research is very, very important. That's the only way we can indeed say we're on top of the situation where we can Ebola outbreak. So let's just continue to prepare, and the various states should prepare. They should identify isolation centers and everything should any case come in. We know that December is approaching and people may come for Christmas. Nigerians are everywhere. So you cannot rule anything out. We just have to be on the alert and ensure that this environmental sanitation and all of these things we do. All we are hearing, we should just make sure we do these things. Simple hygiene will help us a great deal. In part two, after the break, more on the nation's Ebola-free status,
plus discussion with the Lagos State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Jide Idris. It's all coming up in a moment. Just stay with us.